it is quite different from anything I've ever recorded or I've ever written.
Uh-huh.
It's a bold statement to say, but I mean it in all goodwill, so don't take
It's
it
a
too
good modesty,
seriously.
of course.
Michael Jackson's Bad was not just a hit, it was a reinvention. After the chart-topping success of Michael Jackson's Thriller, expectations were so high, so high. But Michael Jackson did not only just come back and prove people wrong, he proved that he could reinvent himself and make things even better. Today, we're going to be talking about Michael Jackson's Bad. We're going to do a deep dive into the song. We're also going to talk a little bit about the groundbreaking short film and just talk all things Bad. Now, today, I'm really excited to have a special guest on, Justin Marlowe, who is an author and also a fellow Michael Jackson fan. And I want to welcome him, show his book. He has recently written a book called Perfect Strangers, Echoes of a Black Suburban Youth, which I think has some really, really great themes that tie into a little bit of what we're going to be talking about today in relation to Michael Jackson. So without further ado, Justin, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Aisha. And I could not be more honored to be here, having this discussion, regarding one of my personal favorite albums of all time. So yeah, this is great.
Yes. So I want to tell people about you because you've written this book, and I think, it's such an interesting read, something that I think a lot of people out there are going to want to pick up. It's available on Amazon, which we will be linking below. But Justin is an award-winning author of the memoir, Perfect Strangers, Echoes of a Black Suburban Youth, whose book centers around the rarely told stories of growing up as an African-American in mostly white segments of suburbia. According to podcaster, influencer Edna J. White, it is a piece of art which should be in the homes of every suburbanite and then some. So can you just tell us briefly a little bit about the book and kind of like what the themes are?
Well, I really just wanted to, I know it sounds like simple, but I wanted to tell my story. My story, our stories in general, they're all very unique. It's just a matter of whether or not you can articulate them in a way that can appeal to the masses. So that's literally what it was. Like, I wanted to tell a story. I wanted to tell the story of my experiences in Black suburbia.
And I think that, some of the things that you talk about, which we will get into later when we talk about the short film for Bad, but Michael Jackson really kind of also talked about or showed a similar experience through the character of Daryl and following him through Bad. And I think it's going to be fun to talk about and really thought-provoking conversation that we're going to have. So let's get on into it.
Yeah, I can't wait. Let's go.
So with Michael's career in between Thriller and Bad, some key things went on. Captain EO, a lot of fans like to call this the Thrad era, Thriller and Bad. Yes. And so there was a lot of expectations weighing on Michael. At that time, Michael was the biggest star in the world. Thriller had chart-topping, groundbreaking success, right? And then people are wondering, what's going on with Michael Jackson? Because this is now in the 80s. People were not dropping albums like they do every 6 months now. People had to wait quite a while, from 82, I believe, 82 to 87. So let me talk a little bit about the song. And, I have my handy-dandy notes here because I want to get the facts right. So
I think it's important to note, Bad wasn't the first single off the album either.
Yes. Which, isn't that interesting to think about?
Very much.
Because it's the title track, you would think that would be
same with Thriller.
True.
He dropped a ballad first, which I don't like that personally. As a fan, I don't like that Mike dropped the one with Paul McCartney.
Girl Is Mine.
Girls of Mine. That's not really for me, for personally.
Yeah. I think
And
a lot of us would agree.
I mean, but it's a good song. It's not for me. And I Just Can't Stop Loving You is not for me either.
What?
For me, it's not for me.
Okay. I'll give you that. Hey,
I'm saying I'm not going to ever dispute the fact that it's a great record. That's not, it just wasn't me. I don't know. It just wasn't for me.
I feel like the fact that he released ballads first was kind of like a soft launch into what was to come, just to like ease people back in. And I'm not really sure why he made that decision but it seemed like it worked in a way. But it's interesting, like what would have happened, right, had he released Bad first as a single. We'll never know, but let me give some facts to the people. Released September 7th, 1987. Number one hit on the Billboard chart, Hot 100 in October of 1987. The second of 5 consecutive number one singles from the Bad album. Top 10 in 10 countries, including the UK, Canada, Australia. Rolling Stone called the song a bold declaration of independence. And there was some early pushback because Michael came out with this new look, this new feel, and a kind of a tough guy image with the song Bad. Now, Justin, we can talk about this, but I want to play a clip of Michael telling us about the song Bad first.
Do it. Go ahead. I love it.
How do you feel about the song Bad? We talked earlier, and I told you that I like the song Bad because it's really all about you. You are the baddest when it comes to the record industry.
Well, it is quite different from anything I've ever recorded or I've ever written. It's a bold statement to say, but I mean it in all goodwill, so don't take it too seriously. It's a good modesty,
of course.
Yeah, I'm saying it's like a way of saying you're cool, you're all right, you're tough. I'm not saying I'm like criminally bad. Of course, that's how people would take it. It's a bold statement to make.
I think there is a lot to unpack with that, in my personal opinion. Like you mentioned earlier, you talked about the Thrad. We say Thrad like as like MJ fans, between Thriller and Bad. And there is like a strange, I think, era right then, because it's like right off the Victory tour. Victory, that's 84, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the like 85, 86. Well, then there's the moment when he's on at the Grammys, I think, and he's like, something happened with Diana Ross, and she kissed. I mean, don't quote me on that, but like I think she kissed somebody, and he was kind of like mad about it. But even with that, you could tell he was like, he looked different, like this is the slow,
right.
trend, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It was definitely, it was a difference in his image and stuff that I think people were having to get used to. But it was a slow transition during that period, right? But for people that weren't paying attention, they're like, oh, Michael Jackson,
And Captain EO, I mean, like, let's not sleep on it. Like that was like pretty cool. Captain EO is really good.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think another just example of how Michael Jackson works with the best of the best, right? I believe that was Francis Ford Coppola, Spielberg. Am I wrong?
It was Spielberg. Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Right?
You're right.
And Disney. So
yeah, right.
he was doing big things in between. This has been an excerpt from Club 30s with MJ Fangirl podcast, episode number 37. You can listen to the podcast on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, and everywhere you listen to podcasts. For more exclusive content, make sure you're joining the MJ Fangirl Patreon. On Patreon, for just $4.99 a month, you can get exclusive candid story times with me, as well as ad-free early drops of all of our content. I can't wait to see you over there, and thank you so much to Marla's, our platinum sponsor. You are the absolute best. See you guys next time.